Cool, we're back for round 2 of the Vintage Playoff, and get to go first. This hand's good because it casts neck opponents on turn 1, so we're going to keep it. This is one of the strongest things you can do on turn 1, and we do have a backup play. We don't quite have an artifact or the mana to cast the Tinker, but we do have a backup play of Tinker for Citadel, Preordained to help facilitate some things, and then the ability to get pretty close to casting Dark Petition if that is a card we draw at some point, so this hand is definitely a keep in my mind. Got some coffee. I was just eating breakfast, so I almost missed this round start. Sat down in time, only a few minutes in. The last rep match actually took a while, just because we were kind of in top deck mode there for a while, so. Our opponent also is waiting to see what's going on. So yeah, so I'm down to just 3 Power Blasts in the sideboard. There's not very much paradoxical outcome, and I felt like I was overboarding against the fair blue decks. I could see 4 Power Blasts being correct, so they mulligan to 5. And then I'm trying out some Tormod scripts just because there's a lot of cards you could play there, but sometimes it's just nice to have a little extra dredge hate. I don't know. I think dredge is one of your best matchups, but there's nothing wrong with playing more. You can always play more dredge hate, basically. Not sure it's correct, but thought I'd test it out. Especially, I think people like to play dredge in events like this. Like the one of these, the Vintage Playoff I top 8'd, I played dredge. Just because you could get a metagame read and see, hey, people aren't playing that much graveyard. Hey, maybe it's time to play dredge, and that's exactly what I did. All right, cool. So they mulligan to 5, so we're just gonna turn 1 cast neck opponents, and if they don't have Force of Will. I'm going to get an Underground Sea here because I'd like to cast this Preordain if this doesn't work out. Skull. Does it resolve? They're going to force it. Okay, force Petition our set, so that's okay. They're down to 3 cards, so unless they have a turn on Ancestral or something, we're doing okay. That's a fine exchange for us. We 2 for 2'd, and our opponent's on 5, so. I do think this matchup, the Xerox matchup, is one of the reasons to play Storm, but it's gotten a lot harder with Narset and stuff. Like, they just have gotten a lot of upgrades to their deck. Ooh, Tropical Island. I don't know what that means. Now, if I drew a Mana Crypt, I would probably just cast Tinker on my next turn. But that would be if I drew exactly Mana Crypt. 1 top, 1 bottom. Alright, so they're down to 3 cards in hand still, so. Ooh, Ancestral's good. Well, I'm going to cast this. Do you have another force? You don't. Cool. So we can Tinker here, which I'm going to do. Really powerful hand this game. We drew a lot of restricted cards. So we can Bullets of Citadel into play, which is not guaranteed to win us the game, but only control here. I'm going to Time Twister even though our opponent's on 3 cards. Let's see. Let's Dark Ritual. And then let's Defense Grid. Cool. Now they can't mess with us, so I think we're almost guaranteed to win the game from this point because we can use neck opponents to clear our top card. Well, we want this demonic tutor, so what's the best way to stack this? I guess top, play this, cast demonic tutor paying life, then we can just go get Tendrils of Agony at this point. So a really good hand on our opponent's mulligan. We're able to combo twice. Obviously, drawing Ancestral Recall is a good thing. Cool. So I'm going to sideboard the same way I did it against what I thought was Xerox before. And this might not be Xerox. Tropical Island makes me think it's more likely that it's Xerox an outcome, though. So these cards come out. And then Lotus Petal will kind of be in the next cut if I wanted to bring in an 8th card. which Chain of Vapor could be depending on what kind of sideboard cards they're playing. Like if I start seeing things like Stony Silence, maybe something like Chain of Vapor would be a little bit better. But Lotus Petal does interact well with, helps you cast Dark Petition and stuff, and helps you cast Necro, can help cast Pyroblast, kind of fixes your mana. It's not a great card, but I think it's okay. You don't want to just dilute your deck too much, like we're mostly just exchanging business that doesn't interact favorably with our opponent for interaction. Make our deck a little bit more consistent, albeit slower. This hand. Well, fortunately we don't have a black source, so I don't think we can keep this hand, but it would be good if we had a land that made black mana. This, on the other hand, I think we can keep. I'm going to go ahead and just bottom the Tendrils. I think it's awkward enough to draw out most of the time, even though maybe it's better than Dark Petition here. We don't have a black source, but I think this is better than 5 cards, and we can take it a little slow and turn on Library if we just keep breaking on lands. Yeah, so I'm going to play this with the plan to activate Library next turn. And then it's kind of like we're just on to play this game with Library. It's not like, beyond 6-card Library on the draw isn't the worst in the world. They don't have a play yet, which just means they probably have a lot of counter spells. Let's draw a card here. Because I'd like to land drop if I could. Nope. Play this, pass. They might have like a Daze or a Spell Pierce and they're considering countering this. Or might just be bluffing. It can be hard to know in Moto. You never know why your opponent is AFK for a second, Like sometimes you think someone's in the tank and they're just going and doing something else for a minute. They're going to pay a lot mana for Taxing Probe. That surprises me. So I'm going to upkeep, activate this Library of Alexandria if we get to untap with it, with the reason being that Oh, we're playing against Oath. Okay, traditionally a pretty strong matchup. But our hand's a little slow this game. So we're going to upkeep Library. Alright, kind of still bricking. So we have to discard 2 cards here. I think Dark Petition is not where we really want to be this game. Although Necropotence is also pretty poor. So let's discard 1 Necropotence, 1 Dark Petition. They found the Oath. Okay. It's a little scary. Alright. What's the deal here? How do we win? They had a Spell Pierce. Okay. I thought they might have a Spell Pierce. Might be hard to win this turn through a counterspell. So that's the question, is do we want to play around a counterspell or not? Like if we Demonic Tutor for Lotus, that probably gets us going somewhere. To 3, to 4. That would put the 5th card in our graveyard. Then Lotus would be 6, Dress would be 7. So I think we could win as long as everything we cast resolves. They're just gonna force this now, yeah. Okay, well they're probably gonna get Gristlebrand now, we're gonna lose, but that's the world we live in. I'm not really sure why they would force that, but they probably were scared and wanted to force the first thing, because I think they knew most of the cards. No, they didn't know most. Yeah, they knew most of the cards in our hand. So hopefully they have some bad Oath target in their deck that's not Gristlebrand. Oh, no, they had Gristlebrand. Okay. Darn. And they had the Gaia's Blessings, they get to reshuffle, so almost certainly going to lose now. Sometimes people play cards that are not Grizzlebrand, and then you easily win, but our opponent saw the line of putting the best creature to Oath and 2 in their deck. Yeah, so we could have beaten one counterspell that turn. Or if our opponent just let all our spells resolve. And I'm certainly going to try and still win the game, but we'll see how likely that is. Library hasn't really done that well today, but I don't think it's because of Library. I think we just have gotten kind of awkward draws. The only thing about this card is it just like is a flexible land. It's like being a land against shops and a spell against blue decks is really powerful. We're gonna braid our Mox Emerald. All right, got me. They're gonna pass with a bunch of cards in hand. Well, do we activate Library here or not? Is that better than? I think that it's fine to do so. And then we can ponder. We're trying to like ponder for like Lotus here, which I imagine won't work. So if that's our plan, maybe we're supposed to just duress first. Yeah. All right, we'll duress our opponent now. I think that I kind of need to slow down a little bit in this game. I'm kind of playing a little loose just because there's a Grizzly random play, so it's like so unlikely that anything we do would ever matter, but it doesn't mean you can't still just make correct plays. Yep. And I'm not going to attack here because they can block and draw more cards then. They probably should not activate Oath here, though, because I think they exiled their other Oath target to force a will. Yep, they saw the line. They're just going to pass here rather than draw cards against man, which I think is correct. All right. We have Mox Ruby now. Could change things. Our opponent would have to just draw absolutely terribly for this anything we do to matter, but might as well. We could beat one counterspell here, so might as well try. Sorry about my dog. 1 second. So I think we're supposed to cast Cabal Ritual here is our main way that we could possibly win this game. I'll counter force negation. Spell Pierce, brutal. Alright. Well, we're still not quite dead here. Spell Preordain. I think our opponent is playing it well so far, most basically. I do think Counter the Demonic Tutor didn't make a ton of sense, but they're probably just so far ahead they just didn't care. Because you can just counter the Lotus that I have to get if you know the context of my hand. Cause I'm trying to think about what cards would make it that it would be an unknown card that would make it so they don't need to do that, but can't think of any really. Yeah, they're just gonna counter this too. Fair enough. This game I think goes a lot differently if we draw land in the first couple turns. Yeah, another Spell Pierce. The opponent has quite a bit of interaction. Well, we're just gonna smash. I imagine they'll be able to find a Time Walk by this point. Or another counterspell, or anything. Maybe they'll accidentally activate Oath and we'll win. Or trigger Oath. I don't know exactly what the wording would be on this card to make it use its ability. No, they didn't. Darn. Cool card. Yep, Ancient Grudge, you got it. So we've seen Spell Pierce and then lots of Abrades. Force Negation is a card. Lots of Shatters, I should say. Just not conceding here because we don't really need to. We need to see more cards in our opponent's deck. They're going to go to 17 here. To start. Well, let's start by attacking our opponent. Don't want to forget the combat steps. I think our plan here is to duress our opponent and then cast Ancestral Recall and hope that we draw like Lotus, Dark Ritual, and our opponent doesn't have anything. But that's a plan. Feels unlikely they won't have 2 counterspells in 14 cards, but we'll see. Might be brainstorming a counterspell to the top of their deck so they can draw into it with Aggressive Brand. Would be a good play. Not that I think they need to do that, probably. Well, I'll take Ancestral Recall. And then I'll Ancestral Recall myself. And then I imagine they're going to counter this. I also get to see their entire deck because Oath, I kind of forgot about that. Yep, now they're going to counter this. Standard Force of Will. I see 1 Force of Negation, 2 Force of Negations. Yeah. Alright, now we're dead. Second Guillotine. So Enter the Warren's obviously not good against Oath. Get that card over deck. Chain of Vapor I think is a little bit better, probably. I'll try this out. Don't really like Bolster Citadel against a million of Braids. Cool. Well, we're gonna play first. Yeah, good hand. Turn one Ancestral Recall. Wait, no, we don't turn Ancestral Recall. Fuck. Sorry, I clicked keep maybe a little bit too quick. No, I think this is still a keep, but I maybe should have evaluated all the lands that were in my hand first. So, what we can do is turn one Dark Dish without Spell Mastery, find Lotus, and then cast two cantrips. Ancestral being a cantrip is kind of funny. Then we'll into 6. I think I'm interested in making that play. Because we don't really have a path to Spell Mastery otherwise, so... And if we ever draw blue land, we're doing pretty well, so... They're on 6 cards, so... I think we're supposed to just get Lotus here. And then Ancestral ourselves. Cool. We're going to Preordain, then Ponder. Pyroblast. I think we're not so interested in Pyroblast here, but that card actually seems fine. And then I'm going to Ponder now. Alright, we gotta shuffle these. The Cataxian Probe is fine, but we don't really want Chain of Vapor. So, we don't really have a hand that does anything yet, but we have the outs to draw into things now, so that part's good. We can always yield to this, and then we'll just keep clicking Tails. Because Tails never fails. Alright. Unfortunately, we didn't find a blue land. So we're going to lead on Defense Grid here, because that could strand an Abrade in their hand. Oh, they probably will just cast the Abrade now, and that'd be kind of annoying. Maybe we Duress first. No, actually, no. What the correct sequencing is here. But then maybe they want to Abrade the Defense Grid, so they get kind of in this interesting cat and mouse game. Spell for your spell, I'm just going to pay. Alright. I don't really have anything else I necessarily want to do this turn. Duressing our opponent would be nice, so they don't get to do something broken this turn, but... like that. Although, I have to imagine they drew that. They're seeing that our hand is still pretty bad, despite having resolved Ancestral Recall and Black Lotus on turn 1. Alright. Choose Tails. Lost the flip. Unlucky. Alright, well, we're going to Duress now. Goodness. I guess we take Brainstorm, because our hand is just so awkward. I mean, you can't take Narset, I'll tell you that. Yeah, they found the land, so that's a little unfortunate. So now the Brainstorm's not going to do very much, but we can still just draw into a payoff it, like a tutor, and we win at any point, so hopefully that happens. Let's see if we get to see what they draw here. Unless they brick, which happens very rarely. Alright, now they have Force of Will in line next turn, so it's going a little out of hand. Of course, now we draw the Brainstorm. Or the mana to cast Brainstorm, sorry. So I might end of turn, try to Chain of Vapor this. Oh, they found Ancient Grudge. Okay. think we're just letting this happen. And I can just flash it back once we replay it, so. So considering like Chain of Vaporing it, and then sacking a land, Chain of Vaporing the Narset, but I think we need both of our lands too much here. So we're in a bit of a pickle. Really strong hand that didn't really develop into more powerful cards. So I think we need to Chain Vapor this Narset at the end of turn and hope to brainstorm into something. It shows a not shuffle, which is a little scary. I found Tormod's Crypt. Okay. Definitely a powerful card against us. I've not felt very good about DPS today in this event. It's been struggling a little bit with our opponent's decks. Feels like our opponents are kind of just doing more powerful things than us, but I'm not sure how much of that is me keeping marginal hands or something. Choose tails. All right. Brainstorm. Maybe they will forcible this. They didn't. Okie dokie. Jeez. We're kind of a bad spot now. That I guess all we can do is make our land drops and hope it works out. Yeah, I'm not going to Power Blast this. They have 2 more in their hand, so don't think that really does very much for us. Played against 2 kind of not super popular decks right now, which are Oath and Outcome. I do think Oath's a really good matchup for Storm, but I really, really dislike Narset. I just find the games against this card to be so frustratingly boring because it's like it suddenly turns off so many of your outs, and then they get to impulse twice, and it's like you try to think about like what cards you could draw to get back in the game, and it's like, well, I can't draw this, and you're just kind of not doing great. You're gonna cast another Narset. Yep. We're drawing our last card from our Brainstorm lock this next turn. Pure Day. Alright. Time Walk. Maybe I was supposed to Power Blast that, actually. Since I kind of have these extra power. I have this extra Power Blast. I think I probably was supposed to Power Blast that. Third Narset. Yep. Knew they had that. Maybe this is the one I'm supposed to counter. Maybe I'm supposed to just destroy it here. Force of Will. Okay. Yep. Don't really know what to talk about here because there's not like a ton of decisions. We're kind of just letting our opponent use a lot of clock and cast a lot of spells, which is part of the fun of Vintage. Is once you start winning, you kind of snowball into it, doing a lot of things. But I don't think it's correct for us to concede here. But we're kind of just don't have much in terms of things that we can do or talk about. I don't know. I haven't like other people have been doing pretty well at DPS. I haven't like felt super super high on it. But we'll see. They're going to shuffle back 3 cards into their deck. Reasonable. So the problem here is that we can't really beat 2 Force of Wills. I'm going to destroy this Narset. Hope they Force Will this. Nope. Great. Well, we knew we were drawing that, so we're going to pass again. So at this point, we know our opponent has double Force of Will, Power Blast. That's 3 of their 7 cards. Okay, goodness. Okay. They're going to start beating my face. Seems reasonable to me. This is a cool card in Vintage because the Moxen. You can like turn off your opponent's Moxen as well as turn on yours. I basically think there's not a card that we could draw to win the game here. Because of our opponent having 2 Force of Wills. So I'm actually going to concede because I don't think it's possible for us to win. Cool. So starting off 0-2, not the best record. But we'll be back for the next round.